Hello and welcome to Talk Sup't, a weekly podcast from Selma City Schools where you will hear information regarding our schools, the district, and the community at large. And now, our host, Dr. Avis Williams.
This is our second edition of Talk Sup't. I'm Dr. Avis Williams, Superintendent for Selma City Schools, and I am super excited to have a special guest. We are at the Clark.
Ooh, yes.
Exactly. And this is Mrs. Thrash, the principal of Clark Elementary. How are you?
I'm doing well. Good morning. Good morning, everybody. Good morning, Team Selma.
Yes, and we are so excited to be at the Clark. We have some phenomenal schools throughout our district, and I love coming to the Clark and seeing the excitement. I love the colors. You know, that purple is a color of royalty, you know.
Absolutely.
And you have some phenomenal scholars here. We're going to talk a little bit more about your scholars and actually meet one of your scholars a little bit later in our program. So thank you for being here.
You're welcome.
And for participating with us. This whole month of April is Autism Awareness Month. And a lot of our schools are doing various campaigns for that. And if you see my shirt, I don't know if the viewers can see my shirt or not, but this was actually done by our group at R.B. Hudson Middle School. But I saw on our social media sites that several of our schools were lighting it up blue for autism awareness. And just to give you a little bit of information about autism, yesterday was World Autism Awareness Day.
Yes.
And so if you are on social media, that was Tuesday of this week, you may have seen a blast of the splash of the color blue and just information about what schools and communities do to support children and families of autism. And we want to go beyond just promoting it because it's about accepting and appreciating and valuing all of our scholars. And about 1% of the world population has autism spectrum disorder. And the prevalence in the United States is estimated to be about 1 in 59 births. And that's a lot.
Wow, that's a lot.
And it's surprising to a lot of people that it's as prevalent as it is. So when Selma City Schools, we celebrate all of our scholars. And I know you've got a very diverse population in terms of student needs here
Absolutely.
at the Clark. And we make sure we take care of all of our babies. So again, it's Autism Awareness Month for the whole month. And if anybody has questions out there about how Selma City Schools serves our autism students, our scholars with autism, reach out to us and let us know your questions. And if you're interested in supporting and working with our families or our scholars, then we, of course, welcome that support also.
Yes.
So, autism awareness, yay. Now, one of our segments that we do every week here on Talk Sup't is My Why. And I explained at our last session that that was a campaign that we did maybe a couple of months ago where we had the hashtag MyWhySCS. And you've been a principal here for how long now?
This is my second year.
Your second year as principal. And how long have you been in education?
21 years.
21 years.
Yes.
Wow. So you must have a why.
I have a why every day.
Why every day. And you have to, don't you?
Yes.
Because every day we face a lot of challenges in education. It's a labor of love, but there are challenges. And so I think it's important as educators that we have a clear why to guide our work, to make sure that we stay joyful in the work that
Absolutely.
we do. So, Ms. Thrash, what's your why?
21 years ago, my why began with students with special needs.
Mm-hmm.
And that branched out to students with similar needs that may not have been identified. So
Okay.
I have a true love for students learning
Mm-hmm.
and learning well and at a high level. So that's why I love working with teachers
Yes.
so that we can make that happen. So I would have to say my why every day would be my teachers here at the Clark and my students, because I thrive and I love seeing them come in every day with a smile. I'm there to
Awesome.
greet them to start their day off. So my why are the students and teachers at the Clark.
I love it. I love it. And they are very fortunate to have you. I know we did our academic excellence visits here a couple of weeks ago, and I thoroughly enjoyed being in the classrooms. I'll never forget the lesson that I saw some of your third grade teachers doing with the scholars, where it was so hands-on and interactive. The students had an opportunity to create race cars, and they were talking about speed and velocity and weight, and the difference that it made when you put a certain weight on the race car.
Yes.
And they were able to explain it to me, exactly what the formulas were and why they were doing that work.
Right,
so
right.
You've got some great things happening at the Clark. And people need to know about that. And I'm real big on making sure we tell our story with Selma City Schools, because otherwise you get things like the street committee said, what? Which is one of our segments that we'll do weekly also. Now, have you heard about the street committee?
I have.
It's interesting because sometimes it is something that's a rumor, and I don't always necessarily know where it came from. And then there are times when it's a misunderstanding or a miscommunication. And so most of the time it's a miscommunication or misunderstanding. One thing that I heard recently was about closing Bird First Class Early Learning Center and what that means in terms of our pre-K program. And I wanted to clarify this for everybody, that yes, we are moving the location of our pre-K program, our pre-K classrooms. They will now be moved to Sophia P. Kingston Elementary School. And one of the rumors that I heard was that we were going to be jamming kids in classrooms like sardines, and that is so far from the truth. In actuality, we have a wing at Kingston that is completely suited for pre-K scholars, meaning that the rooms are already outfitted for our babies. We won't have to do any construction or anything of that nature in order to relocate our classes there. And I'm excited about that being a great opportunity for our pre-K program. Yes. And so, no, we aren't cramming children in classrooms or buildings like sardines. And the reason that we unfortunately had to close a couple of schools is because the actuality is we operate more buildings than we have scholars to fill. One fact that people may not be aware of is that we have enough space for over 8,000 students. And most people do know that we only have around 3,000 students. So it just makes sense that we start looking at our facilities usage, and especially in light of the fact that, we're not growing money on trees.
Absolutely not.
And so with that being the case, we did have to make some tough decisions about our facilities. But again, Sophia P. Kingston will be the new location for our pre-K program, and the official name of that program is going to be the Selma City Schools Strong Start Pre-K.
Excellent.
Located at Sophia P. Kingston. So we're excited about that.
I'm excited. The name sounds great.
Yeah,
yes.
Strong Start, right? Yeah. And so if you hear of anything for our viewers and listeners out there that you want clarity on, let us know. We're all over social media at Selma Schools. You can go to our website to see the links to our social media sites. And we post a lot of great information on our website. It's selmacityschools.org. So, look us up and really check to see the information that we are putting out there. And then if there's ever a point where you need clarity or you hear rumors, please bring that to our attention. And maybe that'll be our next segment of The Street Committee Said, What? We're going to take a break, and when we return, I've got two very special guests that will be with us. And I gave a little bit of a preview at our last segment that we're going to talk about haiku. So if you want to brush up on what that means, viewers and listeners, you might want to do that real quick, because we'll be right back with some special guests to talk about haiku. And we're back, and as promised, we have two very special guests with us today. I've got Miss Gail Ingram and Miss Alicia Lee. Alicia is a 5th grader here at the Clark, right?
Yes, ma'am.
Right. Welcome.
Welcome.
Thank you for being here.
Welcome. I'm glad to be here today.
Well, all right, good deal. Now, I mentioned earlier that we were going to talk about haiku. And I think I gave a slight preview last week that you started a campaign called Let's Haiku Together. You want to tell us a little bit about what that is and why that was so important to you?
Okay. Well, I love poetry, and I write poetry. And once upon a time in 2013, I did a haiku contest with some students at Cathedral Academy. I had been teaching a unit on Japan.
Okay.
Our daughter and grandchildren live in Japan, and her husband, and so it's a real neat thing to me to study about Japan, to know Japan. I love Japan. And so Japan...
To interject just slightly, a haiku is a Japanese
it's a Japanese
poem,
poem.
right? Yes.
It originated in Japan about 400 to 600 years ago.
Okay.
And there's several famous Japanese haikuists. And it's evolved, but everybody mostly knows, haiku's a 3-line poem with 5, 7, and 5 syllables. So those are the criteria we decided to use with students in Dallas County. But it was so much fun to do it with a few students at Cathedral Academy in 2013 that when I was on the separation design team last year with the Selma Center for Nonviolence, and it came about that one of the goals was to try to bring students together from all over the county because there's so much separateness. So in August, I thought, a haiku contest. Grades 6 through 12, and so I approached Dr. Williams with it, and she sent me a haiku, and she liked the idea. So I was just fixing to go to Japan for 3 months, so got back in December, and we started in late in February, early February. But and she assigned me her curriculum specialist, and so did the county, and all of the private schools were interested, and we even approached homeschoolers, but they didn't have anybody that really wanted to do it. But anyway, we wanted to just bring everybody together.
And so since that time, you've gone out and you've met at several schools and actually met with students like Alicia and started helping them write haikus? Yes,
and the teachers had usually already done it. In fact, we honed it down from grades 6 through 12, which would have been utterly impossible.
Yeah, that's a lot.
To 4th and 5th.
Okay.
And I love going into the schools and meeting the students and working with them. It's just really fun. And when I would go, I would take pictures that a friend of mine in Georgia, who has been the judge for our contest, writes haiku about and posts on social media.
Okay.
And I would take the pictures and spread them out to the children, and they would look at them, and we would talk about what haiku does and how haiku is a way to strip down your emotions to your soul and gather courage and resilience and strength. And you can free up your definition. It is powerful. You can free up your emotions by writing haiku. And Alicia wrote a haiku that broke my heart when I read it. So I knew that it was really meaningful to her.
Yeah. And Alicia, your haiku is called Puppy Tears, right?
Yes, ma'am.
What made you come up with the title and write about puppy tears? What's it about?
It's about my dog had diagnosed in first grade.
Yeah. And so what she said about the emotional piece, that's true, huh?
Yes, ma'am.
You want to share your haiku with us?
Yeah.
Okay. Shout it out, Alicia.
The title is Puppy Tears. Tears I have cried in for the puppy I once had. He's always missed.
Oh.
3 lines, 5, 7, 5. Woo, that was great.
That's awesome, and Alicia.
One thing I was just reading this morning, haiku presents healing through self-expression.
Wow.
And that's true of haiku because it's poetry or just any kind of poetry. If you write your feelings down, you can get in touch with them, and it helps you to get over feeling sad. So I was so thankful to be able to learn all this about haiku. And also, I know that Dr. Williams has brought in social emotional learning to the schools. Haiku is an excellent way to do social emotional learning.
Absolutely.
Make sense of feelings, teach awareness and restraint, deepen connections, not only with others but with yourself.
I love that.
So it's a haiku.
Yeah, and we talk a lot about self-care and, like you said, social emotional learning. And as a former English teacher, I love to write anyway.
Yes.
But writing is freeing.
It is.
You know, it really does give you an opportunity to express in ways that simple conversations don't.
Yeah.
Do you like to write, Alicia?
Yes, ma'am.
You do. What's
Keep
your favorite?
writing.
Yeah, definitely keep writing. What's your favorite subject in school?
Math.
Math. Oh, wow. So you are so talented. So you love math, but you're also an excellent writer, because this haiku is phenomenal. And like I said, I love the fact that it did draw from your personal experience. So that is phenomenal. And I hope you do keep writing.
Yes, ma'am.
So what's next? You've got some more schools
next?
that you're visiting
well,
still?
I haven't been invited to any more. The county hasn't sent, they're sending theirs in by the 12th.
Okay.
And the Selma City Schools have finished sending theirs to me online by the 12th.
Okay.
And what's next is on the 26th at the library, we're going to have a celebration where the students will present their haiku, and we'll present them with a certificate and some other note that of the winners.
Okay, because this is a contest.
It is a contest.
Yes.
And there'll be winners from each school. If the 4th and 5th grade both enter, there'll be 3 from the 4th, 3 from the 5th. The people that participate can get a certificate done by their schools just with their name on it as being a participant in the contest,
Okay.
maybe at School Awards Day.
Okay.
And what I want to do, if there's funding for it, is make a booklet of the for all of everybody that wrote
across
haiku,
the county
across
who
the county
participated.
and called Let's Haiku Together. This is one that I did in 2013.
Okay.
It was real thin, but it would be so neat to have all those haiku.
That would be great.
So that will be for May. I
Okay.
won't have that ready on the 26th. But
Okay.
hopefully,
Well, maybe
in
that's
May.
something that we could definitely get before the end of the school
Yes.
year, and
Yes.
that's something we could share with our viewers and listeners before school gets out, perhaps.
Yes,
Yeah.
it's made me. I loved doing this, but the original purpose of bringing all the students together, that will only happen on Awards Day.
Yeah.
But yesterday, a friend at the Selma Center gave me an idea. We need a poetry night and let the kids share it. I said,
that would
that's
be
an
good.
excellent
Do a
idea.
poetry
but-
slam.
Yeah, but I don't know if we can do it before school's out.
Yeah.
But
Well,
anyway,
maybe it'll be a
something-
back to school event.
It might be.
You
That
know?
would be good. Yeah, that's a good idea.
It could be. That'd be a phenomenal back
Yeah,
to
it
school
would be.
event.
It would
You
be.
know, we have so much going on at that time of
Oh, I
year that there's always so many people looking for those types of activities. So let's talk about that.
Well, we're still looking for donations. I sent out many letters, and we've received 7 letters
Okay.
with a donation in it
Awesome.
from businesses in the area, and their names will be on the back of the book or the program or whatever.
Gotcha.
So
Well, if you're interested in sponsoring, reach out to us, and we will most certainly put you in contact with Miss Ingram so that we can get this rocking and rolling, because I do think it would be phenomenal for us to produce a book of the scholars across the county
Yes.
as they haiku together. I
Yes.
love it. Thank you
Yes.
so
You're
much
so
for your
welcome.
work with
You're
this.
so welcome.
And Alicia, thank you for joining us also. We appreciate you. We are going to wrap up here. Courtney Washington will be back with us next week, and just to give you a preview for next week, I mentioned that all of our elementary schools are creating academies of academic excellence, and next week we will begin revealing what those academies are.
That's
It's
exciting.
exciting. It's very exciting, because each school will have a specialty program. Where we're really just trying to make sure we're in tune to the needs and the desires of our scholars and their parents. So I'm excited about revealing what those specialty programs are. So we will talk about that next week, and of course have some guests here to talk about my why and the street committee says what, and look forward to engaging with you all on Talk Soup again next week. Thank you, Ms. Thrash, for welcoming us to the Clark and for sharing the space with us. And thank you.
you're welcome. Can I just say that we are very honored and blessed to have you in Selma?
Oh, thank you. I
mean,
appreciate
it's been
that.
awesome. You're making me want to go back to school. I mean,
Well,
it's been a long
come
time.
Trust me when I tell you, the honor and the pleasure is all mine. I love it. I love it, and it keeps me with the why. You know, I have a very clear why in terms of making sure that our scholars have all that they need. So thank you for that. We will see you all next week for Talk Soup. Thank you so much.